Greetings, Radio Nation. Well, this is a new one. We're playing a Thursday game. There hasn't been one of those in quite a while. I think the last one we had was in 1994 or something. And I really don't like Thursday night games too much because not only do we have classes that day, but the next day we have classes again, so it's kind of like it just feels kind of a real game day choice for a college football game. And I personally believe that Thursday night games and any other non-weekend games should really be used for the non-AQ teams like the MAC conference and such. Well, they don't get on television too often, and sometimes their games are fun to watch, and they deserve sometimes to have some scouts watching them and get some national coverage. For we get that almost every week. I don't know. I just wish this game was a Saturday game. Thursday games are weird. Anyways, this week we're playing the Texas Christian Horned Frogs. Now, the Horned Frogs this year have been a pretty good team. I mean, they managed to hold their own against LSU for most of the game, and albeit they didn't perform the best as I thought they would against SCLA, they're still a team to be taken seriously because they are a very dangerous team, and especially with their defensive player of the year returning, what's his name? Devontae Fields. Yep, that's the name. But he still has a half a game suspension on him, so I don't know if he's gonna play the whole game or not, or just miss half of it, since he came in at the end of the game Saturday of TCU and played the last half, even though he was still suspended. I don't know, it just feels kind of odd. Like, I don't know if we could play on the full game or is he gonna play half a game. I'm just confused on the whole situation of his suspension and what the general rules are and what games he can play and what games he can't, and yeah, whatever. But if he does play, yeah, he is a threat, and he had last year had like around 53 tackles and 10 sacks, and is TCU's most deadly weapon on defense. If we do not prevent him from sacking the quarterback or disrupting him, this game's not going to be too well for us. We need the O-line to hold this guy back. And he will be giving us the most pressure we have faced all season long. And the rest of TCU's defense seems to be a bit questionable. At least the secondary for them is. It just seemed to be a bit of a mess. I mean, even the head coach for TCU, Patterson, was a bit disappointed in the way they performed against LSU. I mean, sure, they had great defense against an FCS school, but that's an FCS school. You're supposed to have good defense against an FCS school. And they haven't really faced a spread offense yet this season at all, because there's only been 3 games. So even though they have 3 safeties in the backfield, it's gonna be interesting to see how well we perform against the secondary, and whether or not that secondary is as vaunted as they are making out to be in the preseason. For I mean, I can think of a few good players in the secondary, like Elijah Ulaban is someone you do not want to be around at all, and Chris Hackett. Those 2 players on TCU secondary are people we should avoid at all cost. Now, we have around 4 receivers that we spread the ball out to a whole lot. So even if they get covered, Mayfield can run the ball and pick up the yards that way. So it's going to be interesting to see how well we perform offensively, since Mayfield hasn't really had too big of a test yet. And if he wins this game, I think he has cemented himself as the starter for the rest of the season, even if Michael Brewer gets better. And our defense against the dual threat abilities of Boykin, it's gonna be interesting. For we managed to play pretty well against SMU, all things considered, and they won a terrific passing attack too. But Boykin last year really put up some numbers on us. Granted, he doesn't have some of the same receivers as he did last season, and we don't have some of the same defensive ends. It's still going to be a very hard-fought game all around. Hopefully our defensive line, as shown by our previous games, can hold back the run attack of Boykin. For if he starts breaking through our coverage and running through us, this is going to be a very hard game to watch. But I don't see that happening too much. But it's hopefully really judge this TCU offense this season, since they've only really played against 2 teams, an FCS school and a SEC school. So basically a high defense and a low defense. So there's not much middle ground to judge exactly how effective they are. So Boykin is the more effective quarterback so far this season, but he gained most of that yardage against University of Louisiana Southeast, and that's not really saying too much at all. And against LSU, he only had like about in 2 digits, like 72 yards passing or something. But at least though, dueling quarterback situation at TCU is not going to cause confusing for us, which I'm glad. But that means we're facing Boykin more. So it's a give and take kind of thing. This is going to be a very good game, I think. It's going to be a hell of a game to be at, and it's going to be a season-defining moment for us right now in the season. See just where we are at, since the Big 12 is kind of weak this year. I think having a team like TCU play us right now is a good idea to get a grasp of how good we are going to be throughout the rest of conference play and the season. Overall, I see this game starting out very slow, but I see Tech pulling out a win. I'll predict the final score would be around Tech 31 and TCU 24. Till after the game, Raider Nation. Guns up, Raider Power, Wreck 'em Tech.